Hello there, Love is Blind, Season 4, Seattle. Did you see my reel? We've got to talk about Jackie and Marshall, the blame it on the edit. Of course, I can't get this song out of my head, but in this video, I want to give you what I call a therapist's analysis of somebody who follows reality dating shows, because the math is not mathing here. And I want to help you analyze this. But if this is content that you like, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Welcome to Reality TV Therapy with me, Dr. Diane. Welcome back. What do you like of my new setup here? I usually had like the flat blue or pink, and now I'm going with a little bit something different. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. But I want to talk about Love is Blind Season 4, and I want to slow down some things and think clearly about Marshall and Jackie, about who they are separately as people and as a couple. Because if you know me, I'm Dr. Diane Strakowski. I am a couples therapist, a relationship expert, and an attachment theory expert. And I want to talk about all things relationships, because in these shows, I know everyone says, oh, they're fake, they're highly edited. Yes, they are highly edited, but the emotions are real and they are not scripted. And yes, we can blame certain things about the editing, but we can also learn some lessons. So I want you to stick with this video, because I want to do my therapist edit to talk about how I just think this could have been done better. Because that's the nugget, that's the learning, how each of us can then watch these shows and think about, is that me? Can I do that better? And that's why we're here. Okay, so for me, the lesson to be learned about this whole dilemma going on with Jackie and Marshall is about accountability. And I want to show both sides, because I actually think there's accountability for both people. I'm not taking sides. Stick with me. I just want to go in depth about what we saw on each person's side. Okay, let's start with Marshall, because this is my first video. Catch you up to date. In the pods, Marshall shares a really important telling story about his father. A story that so many people could really relate to. Feeling like you're not good enough. His father, Marshall's father, tells him that he's not good at math and therefore he won't amount to much. And that if he saw him on the side of the road, he wouldn't help him. Oh, that's like a dagger, right? So have you heard of something, and I wanted to go over this, if Marshall was even watching this video, have you heard of something called dyscalculia? I hadn't even heard of it myself. But it is a disorder, not that dissimilar from dyslexia, but in particular people who have trouble with math. Because in dyslexia, you have trouble with reading, right? You switch letters around. But dyscalculia affects the brain areas that handle math and number-related skills. Now, most often symptoms occur in childhood, but adults can have this as well. So people were asking the questions, because I read all the comments, I follow multiple different pages. Is Marshall sharing too much? Isn't he over this trauma? Isn't he over his past? Well, it's important to notice that whether you're a man or a woman, but in particular a man opening up to trauma, what Marshall experiences as emotional abuse is for him to say. But I think we have important dialogues and conversations about trauma, and it's good to set the precedence, because if you can openly discuss your emotions, that we can actually allow people to talk about it. Okay, and especially considering the Black man whose emotions have never really been considered, I think this is so crucial. And I really loved this season in particular on Love is Blind, the men. Let me know in the comments what you think. Marshall, Brett, even Kwame here is talking about, wow, look at us. We're having conversations that we wouldn't normally. And I want to applaud the vulnerability because most women say they want this from men, right? They're used to men who are more shut down. And so I don't want to squash this. I want to applaud that men are being vulnerable. And that is the whole point of the pods, right? So much about Love is Blind, and I've talked to previous contestants about the process of falling in love, is about opening yourself up. And so we can't have it both ways, right? If this is how people are joining and it's appropriate to do that in the pods, then I really don't want to shun anyone from being vulnerable. Okay, but who are Marshall and Jackie as a couple? Now, on paper, these two do not seem very likely to me because Jackie is extroverted. She's more sarcastic. We saw this when she called Irina a peasant. She's more emotionally kind of driven. Marshall is quite different, right? He's quieter, he's sweeter, we also see a bit of jealousy. The case in point when Jackie tells Marshall that she's talking between him and another guy. At this point, we know it's Josh. He steps out of the pods to confront Josh, leaving Jackie in tears. Now, all of this to say that I'm guessing that Marshall, whether he's done some good work on himself, which is all possible, he could be somebody who has earned his attachment, meaning that through therapy and a lot of work, he's become more secure. But he's in stress, and we see some anxious attachment issues. Everybody does, right? I don't know if you're going to say yes at the altar, so most people are going to be pretty anxious at this point. But I do think that we also saw some really lovely partnering skills. Marshall was patient and said, I'm there for you. I'll be with you, Jackie. Take your time. Do you need more time? So I have to weigh all of that out. Okay, but the biggest no is when Marshall says to Jackie that
I see you as a project and I saw potential.
Okay. So, and the question that came from this, does Marshall have what we call a savior complex? I don't even like the word savior complex. I don't know what that actually is. But it's highly nuanced and it's really hard to tell. Like, can I definitively answer that question? It's kind of like codependency. It's only if you subvert your own needs for the sake of your partner that it becomes in some ways dangerous to you. Is he really trying to save her? Is that called the white knight, signaling that he's better than her? I don't know. But some way he is saying that he's sort of nobler than her. And I just want to get to that because this is the sticking point for Jackie. So let's talk about who Jackie is. And I'm going to pull up her Instagram profile because she says it in bold language. Jackelina, 27 years old, occupation, certified dental assistant. Jackelina has never been in a relationship. Remember, Marshall said that because she refuses to settle. As a straightforward person who doesn't play games, she says she won't put up with someone who thinks they're better than me. But Jackelina knows she can be hard-headed at times, so she's keeping her options open in hopes of finding my daddy in the pods to start our lives together. Okay, lots to unpack there. But I think this is the point where Jackie gets triggered by Marshall somehow signaling that he is better than her by implying that she's a project. Okay, time out. Let's think about who Jackie is. I'm going to call her Jackie for short. It's my estimation that Jackie, obviously people are talking about her toxicity and her trauma background. I don't know. I'm a media therapist. I don't know Jackie. She's not my client. I don't know her background. But what we're seeing implies to me as a fearful avoidant style. Classically, in attachment theory, this was called disorganized. I don't like the word. It's not like they're messy, but they're confused in their relationships. What does that mean? That could mean that Jackie has experienced some trauma in her past. That could be sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. And this is about 6% of the population. So it's not obviously the most common. But as a result, if this is Jackie, she's going to have both. She's going to flip-flop back and forth between anxiety and avoidance. And we see that, don't we? Right? There is a lot of flip-flopping. And so people can call that hypocrisy, but that's kind of the background, like what's underneath the hypocrisy. But overall, the biggest thing for Jackie is it's going to be hard for her to trust someone. And here's the thing. If I have an abusive parent, one or the other parent, that I've been afraid of, it's very hard for me to trust anyone, any adult, because paradoxically, I look for what was love. And if I've experienced abuse, then I'm going to see abuse or toxicity or trauma bonding as being familiar to me. So you can see that Jackie and Marshall just are not a fit. And we know a little bit more about Jackie, just her life circumstance, that when she has her quote-unquote meltdown, breakdown in Mexico, she tells us some things about herself, that her father is fighting stage 2 head and neck cancer. He had a feeding tube in his stomach. He had to have the back of his tongue removed. These are pretty serious things, and it sounds like Jackie is in the position of caregiving. So I just think, oh my gosh, Jackie, this is not a good time to go on a reality dating show to find love. And we're even questioning her motives, because does she even want to get married? We find that out. Okay. But as a couples therapist, we see that the stress is getting to them. Even Marshall has come out and said Jackie was doing the best that she can. He has no hard feelings. There's clearly alcohol involved. And we do know some editing that makes things look worse. No excuses. Okay. But Marshall is actually trying to be mature about this. And I would have to ask Marshall, what does attract him to women like Jackie, without implying that he wants to save them, but I think that's work that Marshall needs to do. Okay, so now let's talk about my screen grab here about why Jackie is blaming the editing. So what do you think? All right, because some things are just not adding up for me. I have watched and rewatched this scene many times. Jackie is now talking about the breakup, and she is claiming in her most recent post, and she's now turned off her commenting, that she broke up with Marshall before she met with Josh at the coffee shop. What do you think? Okay. I am having a hard time with placing all of this together, and she's saying, well, look it doesn't match up, because in one scene, I've got my hair down, my clothes are different, and the other scene, I have my hair up. But the part to me that just, and people are saying that maybe she doesn't want to be seen as a cheater, right? But for me, it's like the cold attitude that she has for Marshall. And that's what's so hard. We're at a day and age where hopefully we've learned how to break up better than this, but there's just something that's missing for me. And then there's the on the camera kind of mocking Marshall to Josh, calling him the crybaby MVP. Ugh, I just wish all of that was edited out. Okay. And then, of course, I'm well aware of the tweets. I won't even say what they are, because it really feels like at a whole different level what's going on here. And I'm thinking to myself, who are Jackie's friends who she had texted these that actually shared these screenshots? Oh my gosh. The show itself, even Marshall says, is not supposed to be about drama. It's supposed to be about love, right? But all of this to say that we've gone really downhill for it. It really should be enough to just say we're not a fit. Okay, so let's do an edit. Okay, how, if we want to learn from this, how could Jackie have handled this situation better? Jackie, you're watching my video right now. Find a better way to end, okay? Like Irina and Zach, for Pete's sake. They handled it really well, I do think. I mentioned that in one of my other reels on Instagram that I thought Irina and Zach did a great job. Hey, this isn't working. Let's call it. I messed up. My heart is with somebody else. But Marshall, you really came on the show with good intentions that you were looking for a wife. And I'm just so sorry that I couldn't be that for you. I thought I could overcome my patterns and that I wanted somebody more healthy, but I find myself reverting back. Okay. Number 2, again, acknowledging accountability. I'm sorry for the pain that I've caused you. Now, Marshall himself has said, I don't really need an apology, but the rest of us feel like we get dragged into this, right? And I don't want to stand here in judgment, but I think there's something that we just have to stop with the character assassination. Like, that's the part that it doesn't work out. There's hurt feelings, but like, we don't need to denigrate someone. That's what's hard. Okay. Number 3, I will have to actually just say, to protect Jackie, make Josh work a little bit harder too. Okay. We're not talking about this because we're talking about how she treated Marshall, but Jackie, honey, kind of like Bliss did with Zach. Hey, I need more time to get over this. Whether we broke up yesterday, if that's really a fake edit or not, I still need more time to get over this. Okay. Number 4, the biggest issue about the ring. Okay, Jackie, if you need the money, just say so. Just say, if you had to say, I'm really broke. My father is in trouble. We're struggling with his cancer. Would it be okay if I kept the ring? I actually think that people would say yes. I do. Because I know the ring is symbolic for the relationship, and it's not even Josh's, it's not even Marshall's ring, right? It's Netflix ring, which turns out that it's Kinetic Contact. I think that's the name of the producers. But that part just felt like a big, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep the ring. And the affect about it felt bad, right? So number 5, back to the tweets. Even if Jackie got the ick, okay, that's fine. It happens all the time. We don't need to bring that up. We don't need to bring up behaviors to kind of support that. Like, that is enough. So the biggest takeaway that people are responding to all of this is just accountability, not excuses. The other problem I have with Jackie is that there's something that happens. I don't know if this has happened to you. Have you been in the early phases of love when you meet somebody and you're getting hits of dopamine and oxytocin, and you feel like even if you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, you're like, okay, whatever. And that's what happens here. I've watched enough reality TV show that when we are with a new person, it's very hard to be humble, right? Because this new person is telling you how great you are. This is on Vanderpump Rules. How great you are, how wonderful. Don't listen to that. And they're kind of in your ear, which, again, along with the dopamine boost, it makes it very hard for you to sort of own your part and take accountability because you're in the throes of this new relationship. And so it's almost like Marshall, who's dating, doesn't have somebody, and Jackie, who does, that people want to defend Marshall. Okay. Now, if we had to edit Marshall, I don't want to nitpick, but here's the thing. I think Jackie the whole time was just looking for permission to leave. I think that if Marshall had taken himself out of it and just looked at her situation, maybe he could have called it sooner and said, you have so much going on, Jackie, that to throw a wedding on top of it when your dad has stage 2 cancer, I just don't think is a good time. She could have then fought back and said, no, it is a good time, et cetera, et cetera. But I kind of feel, I know it's all hindsight, and I'm sitting here in my safe office to say that. But to me, we needed to sort of state the obvious, because I do feel like a little bit that Marshall was taking Jackie's behavior personally. And he's hurt, of course, because he's more ready than she is. But if he's not ready for her and she's having a hard time trusting him and accepting kind of this nice behavior, there is nothing wrong with you, but just saying we're at a different place. Here's the other thing. Marshall could have just said, Jackie, keep the ring. It's not mine. Do with it what you want. Okay. So that's just my analysis. This is, again, a highly nuanced show. We haven't even gotten to the reunion. It's going to be live. So Jackie tweeting or saying things like, oh, Marshall says some other things. She's doubling down, talking about other people are clowns. It's getting to be too much. And here's my worry, okay? That we have Nick and Vanessa Lachey, lovely people as entertainment hosts, but not therapists to talk about this. If you want to hold people accountable, talk about a good edit, talk about what was going on behind the scenes, and find some way to heal, a reunion is that place to do so, because they haven't talked. Marshall has not talked to Jackie since the show. And you know they're going to come in and they get them hyped up, and I just feel like we're back to drama. It is going to be so messy. Okay. I'm going to land this plane, this Love is Blind plane, with my reality check, because I like to look in the mirror and say, what could we learn? If you were on a reality dating show, could you learn anything? Well, we're all human. And here's the other thing too. People say, oh, we'll get therapy. And maybe that's a little bit classist, elitist thing to just say get therapy. Not everybody can afford it, right? And not everybody knows what does it mean to kind of like do the work, right? But what we can say is what not to do. Don't double down. Don't become defensive. That what we can learn in our humanness is to apologize to those people who felt deceived, okay? To acknowledge that, our part to say, I'm sorry if that offended you. And we've already seen some decent apologies by Micah and Irina that I really did appreciate. So if we can get there, I feel like we give relationships more hope. Because here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I watch reality dating shows for a happy ending. I do, for a love story. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. We can't expect that 5 out of 5 couples are going to work out. And I'm going to get to my predictions in my next video. But it's okay when things don't work out to just say we weren't a fit. Like, that is a good enough answer. And if nothing else that you can learn in your own relationships is to just leave that person with a little dignity and say, thank you so much for opening your heart to me. And I'm sorry it didn't work out, but we tried. All right. I'm going to leave you with that. Let me know what else I missed. I'm going to give my predictions because there are some good love stories here. But I needed to talk about the math ain't mathing with Jackie, what I think is really going on behind the scenes. And let me know if you're enjoying this content and other shows you might want me to cover. Thank you so much.